the next two values are very nice. It says Sthiryam and Atma Vinigraha. Okay, Sthiryam means Sthirasya Bhavaha. Sthirasya Bhavaha means certain amount of stability. What does stability mean? It means that anything, is just interesting that how we were talking about it, that anything that you want to do in life, you need to give it a time and you need to have commitment for it. Okay, so this is something that any learning that takes place. Somebody just told me that any subject matter that you want to have a relative mastery over, how many hours do you think that the mind requires to think about it? How many hours? It says minimum 10,000 hours for a mind to get a relative mastery over a given subject matter. Okay, so that means we are all, as Neeru very rightly was saying, all technique, quick fix, the whole. Exactly. Sometimes for me it is appalling because people come to Vedanta class and they have some little problem with whatever, I don't know, some whatever, as you said, it could be as something as having problem with your maid, right? Managing your house, whatever this little thing is, the whole teaching of Vedanta is all that you hear is applied only to that. So what a waste, right? I mean, yes, you can look at that problem. It's not that you don't, but you don't use the entire teaching, which is talking about some very existential questions, some very fundamental things, just for that given thing. Okay, so that means, and then if that particular problem cannot be solved immediately, then you think, oh, Vedanta is irrelevant because it doesn't solve this little problem of mine immediately. So everybody is wanting quick fixes. Show me a technique, as Neeru was saying, where I can fix this little problem which actually is this much, but in my mind it is looming large. Okay, and if you can't solve this problem in next few months, then Vedanta is not relevant in life. They miss the point that what it is talking about is something so deep, so fundamental. It is actually solving a human fundamental problem. It's not talking about one little thing that goes in your life. Okay, so therefore this is like, almost like a frog which is caught in the well, and for that frog the whole universe is what? The well, and every solution is sought within this well. Okay, now he wants to know the world because he is feeling not so good and he's caught with this problem. Then somebody says, hey, you want to solve a problem? Let me show you of the world. Let me show you that this definition of world is highly limited. Let me take you out and make you see what is meant by the world. The frog is so frightened to go out of one's existing paradigm. Okay, and then is so scared that what? Wants to come back because the person feels uncomfortable. Okay, and then because then that is even though the person is not satisfied, right, with the status quo, that is still a comfort zone. Coming out of it becomes too uncomfortable. Okay, Vedanta is like that. People say, initially people like, what are you talking about? Okay, because it is so much out of one's paradigm and it is solving the problem so fundamentally. Okay, and if you don't recognize the implication, right, you want to retain your little thing and you want entire teaching of Vedanta which is showing you amazing things just for that little thing. It is like telling a physicist who knows a lot of physical things, say, hey, now can you switch on this light? It is, what a waste. Because what that physicist can do is so much more than what you want to use him or her for. Okay? Okay, so that means this is why they say in order for Vedanta to resonate, you need to be a highly intelligent, not an intelligent person, but somebody who is deeper, okay, who wants to look into things and not interested only in quick fixes. Okay, so this is where stairyam means if you want to master something, you need to spend time with it. There is no other way. You can't say to somebody, when you meet somebody in a cocktail party, you can't, if a physicist is there, a quantum physicist, you cannot tell him, now in this 1 hour, you tell me what is quantum physics and you prove to me that it is right. You think that the physicist will engage in a conversation with you, trying to prove to you and explain to you entire quantum physics in 1 hour? It's impossible. Okay, so that means if you are not ready, the teacher does not have the need. Please understand. Okay? The teacher has no need to impart this knowledge. There is no need. Okay? But if the teacher thinks that this knowledge is something which can change lives of people, then the teacher will engage with the person who is the person with whom the teacher will engage, who has value for that knowledge. Otherwise, it just does not work. You cannot, as a teacher, it's a responsibility. When you are talking about something so fundamental, you need to make sure that the person is a deserving recipient of this. At least the person is trying, and at least the person is showing certain interest and open mind with which the person is trying to at least understand what you're saying and reflect on it. Then if there are questions, obviously there are questions. The whole teaching methodology is such that inbuilt in this methodology are the questions and answers. So we are not shy of questions, but you need to reflect. Without reflecting, if your questions are just negating or whatever, not even thinking through things, then that the teaching cannot take place. So stairyam means certain amount of commitment. Any teaching is like that. Okay? Most of the time, why do you think in PhD of mathematics, how many people you will find? Any higher learning is like that. It's not only Vedanta. How many people are actually interested in knowing things with a certain depth? How many? You go to PhD class of physics, mathematics, even economics, any PhD, biology, any class, you will have relatively fewer people, and you will have mostly masses going to where things which are slightly easier. So Vedanta is like that. Okay, Sthairya is one of the qualities, and time is another quality. That you need to be patient, because every part of Vedanta, as Neeru says, which is so true. After 20 years, when I still listen to my teacher, I still said, oh wow, I love the way he expresses this given idea. I think I can learn from it. Okay, I have heard it for 3.5 years every day, and I teach it for last 15 years, and I still listen to it with a wonder. Okay? So that means that there are levels and levels and levels and levels. It may seem like the same subject matter. As she says, there are only 3 things that Vedanta talks about. Who are you? What is the nature of the cause of the universe? What is your relationship with the cause of the universe? And how do you grow to become eligible to know this reality? These are the subject matters. Okay? But there are so many layers. Why? Because we have layers and layers and layers of ignorance, and it's all entangled. Okay? So therefore it requires time. Imagine just a physical visualization. Okay? Imagine that you have 2 ropes and you tie it up with a knot. Okay? Then Then you tie another knot. Then you tie another knot. Then another knot. Okay? So you do it about 20 times. How long will it take for you to undo it? Huh? Take a while. Now you imagine what? A jiva and the entanglement of a jiva. So many different lives, so many different decisions, so many unseen results. Now, how long? Not 20 birds. How many birds? Countless birds. So, all our individuality is highly entangled. Like Radhika says, simple knee pain can have a cause from your past birth, not even anything to do with this birth. Okay. How many births are you going to go back and have information about? Because this tanglement is just too much. And if you want it to be all done in a few months of listening to Vedanta, is just not possible. Okay. So you have to be delicate, and you have to be attentive, and you have to be what? You have to first understand the skill of what? Where are the knots, and where what? Right interventions at the right time. If you start just doing things like that, it won't work. If you don't do anything, it won't work. Intelligent interventions, one thing at a time, you undo. Then what? The next step comes, then you undo that. Then the next step, then you undo that. That's why it's a delicate process, and it is time consuming. There is no shortcut here. And there are layers. Okay? So therefore, one needs to be persistent. That's why stairyam is required. And this is why even a person like Arjuna was asking Lord Krishna that if in this lifetime I don't totally understand what you are telling me, what will happen to me? He was asking this question, a person who was brilliant. He was not an ordinary person. And then Lord Krishna says that once you come to this knowledge, then there is no going back. There is no going back, because you have started what? Instead of tying one more knot, what? You have started a process where you are untying. Until the whole thing is solved, what? You will be taken further and further in this untying process. Yeah. Okay. So therefore, that person is on a different journey altogether. That's why as you begin to assimilate and live based on certain realities that you have understood, not based on what the teacher is saying. I don't want to use these kind of words, not at all. Okay? Based on the realities that you have understood, and if you realign your life and you incorporate those realities in your decision making, you will see your life will become far more simpler, okay, than what it was. You will see it for yourself. Okay? You will be helped. You will be guided. You will be taken one step forward. You have to make one step, and then 2 steps forward you will be brought. But you have to do this untying. Okay? So this is what is called value for stairyam. Commitment, integrity, doing what needs to be done, okay, and reflecting on the teaching. Sometimes I used to do this exercise. I said, let me think about the universe in whichever way. Okay? And any way you start. Okay? And if you go all the way down, then I used to say, oh my God, you actually come back to Vedanta. You can't not have Vedanta. Exactly. It lands up there. Okay? So this is where you see, oh my God, that is its strength. So this is what we call stairyam. Stairyam is staying with it. If you want to understand a given subject matter which is not simplistic, you need to spend time. There is no other way. Okay. The other one is Atma Vinigraha. This is the last value, then we will move to something else. Okay. Atma Vinigraha means mastery over oneself. What does mastery over oneself? What does it mean? Okay. In order to understand this word Atma Vinigraha, let's use one example that is given in Kathopanishad. Okay. Kathopanishad uses a very nice imagery. Okay. It says that Atmanam tu Rathinam Vidhi. Okay. So that means that Atma, your individual, is the one who owns Ratha. Ratha means a chariot. Okay. So now in this analogy, there is a chariot. A chariot has what? 5 horses. Then there are reins, and then there is a charioteer. Okay. Now this whole thing is what? What is a chariot? It's a physical body. Okay. 5 horses are the senses. The rein is the mind, and the Sarathi is Buddhi. Buddhi is your intellect. And for all this is owned by whom? A charioteer, a jiva. Okay, so that means a jiva comes to this earth with what? A physical body, 5 senses, a mind, and a buddhi. Okay, so now imagine that this buddhi has no idea as to why am I here, where do I have to go, what I have to do, what is the life meant for. Then the charioteer who has to use the chariot is clueless. What will happen? Don't know where to go. There has no idea. There is no direction to go. You're given all these amazingly sophisticated equipment, but you have no idea how to use it to go where. And if that is the case, Kathopanishad says, what will decide where the chariot goes? If the charioteer has no idea, what will guide the movement of the chariot? The horses.
Which are senses.
Exactly. Right? Random impulse, which is your horses. So that means wherever, because the charioteer is given the whole, it doesn't know how to handle it. So the horses, wherever, whatever fancy. Okay, one horse would like to drink water, the other one wants to eat some grass, the other one is curious about something else, and the whole thing is going here and there. Okay, running by one's impulses. Okay, so therefore now imagine then what? At one point the horses become old, the charioteer is losing the time and goes, and the whole opportunity to go or to even determine what is the destination is gone. This is what we call life is wasted. Okay? Life is wasted because if with your 5 sense organs you see different objects, and every object, what? The sense organs will have certain fancy. Anything that you see, anything that you hear, anything that you smell, anything that you taste, it's endless. Okay, so that means if you have no clue of why this body is given to you, for this whatever time it is given to you on this earth, then what will happen is this whole body that is given to you is a waste. So according to the Veda, okay, you need to, in order for you to use your body and mind wisely, you need to know what it is given for. It is given for, according to the Vedas, for moksha. Moksha means freedom. Okay? The experiences are not just for the sake of experiences. They are meant for you to grow and recognize that your normal pursuits of engaging in the world are not giving you what you are looking for. The normal pursuits of what? Artha, Dharma and Kama. Once you recognize, no matter how much more of Artha, how much more of Kama, how much more of Dharma, being a good human being, being a clean human being, not doing anything, being sensitive to others' needs, that still does not give you the freedom that you are searching for. Okay? This is when you will ask a question, what is it which will give me the freedom? This is where what Vedanta says is what? That very search for freedom implies that you have concluded you are not free. Okay? And it says, now re-look, I will show you are already free. Okay? So this is the whole pursuit. And in order to understand this reality, you need to engage in the world, because this conclusion that you are not free now and you have to do something to become free is so deeply rooted that people cannot understand, they cannot fathom the fact that you are already free. Okay? So therefore, you need to be that person who is able to think out of the box. Surya used to say, for Vedanta to work, you have to have a mind of a scientist who is able to think logically. Because nothing that I say because it is said in the Gita, because it is said in the Veda, it is true. There is never the reason. Or because my teacher said, or because Shankaracharya said. No. Okay? But if I have to show you what Bhagavad Gita says is right, I have to show you here and now that this is how things are. And what it says cannot be contradicted by any form of reason. You may not be able to comprehend all the reasons very accurately, but you can see that it is not just talking blah blah. Okay. So therefore, it requires a mind of a scientist, able to think. It also requires a mind of a creative person who is able to think out of the box. Because sometimes our rational mind is so much, when you study medicine, for example, then you first study the whole human anatomy, the physiology. Okay? Then what happens is that you feel, oh my God, that is too much. I just need to concentrate on, I want to become an orthopedic surgeon. So that means you narrow it further because it's too much knowledge. Then orthopedic surgeon, and then what? You again specialize in something and you go deeper and deeper into one given thing. And what is missed out? So many things are missed out, right? So we become specialization within specialization within. So that means you can't, even that you still don't know everything. It is knowledge within knowledge within knowledge within knowledge. It is unfathomable. And you spend your lifetime and you still don't understand that little thing that you want to understand. You said, this is too much, let me narrow it down. Then this is too much, let me narrow it down. Then this is too much, let me narrow it down. And even that little narrow you can't understand totally. Okay? So whole life goes in that kind of a very, very focused learning. What is the nature of Vedanta? It's making you see the totality. It's a completely different way of learning. It's not making you, of course it makes you see things in a detail, but it shows you a very, very, very big picture within which all the different paths fit. So you need to be a person, like a creative person, who's able to think out of the box and not within those defined parameters. Okay? So therefore, this is a mind of a creative person. Then it says you don't only need a mind, this is Surya, right? So he's saying you not only need a mind of a scientist and a creative person like an artist or somebody like that, you also need a mind of a saint, a good human being, a clean human being with right values. Okay? Somebody who's not complex. Even if you're complex, when things are made clear, you're what? Willing to. Sometimes I see, when I teach Vedanta, that some eyes begin to shine. I see that there is a person who is not having too many blocks. The person is just, the teaching, the words reach that person. If there are too many blocks, I actually can feel it. Okay? The receptivity of the person is, when you have not a complex, when the mind is used to convolute, it's a convoluting things, you can actually see it. With Vedanta, it does not work for that person. Okay? So therefore, you need a mind with right values, who can see the clarity, he has some resonance, there is with some clarity. Okay? So therefore, this is what we call Atma Vinigraha, certain mastery which makes you eligible to undertake this inquiry and to pursue this inquiry. Otherwise, human life is wasted. Even to sit and make an effort to come here is not easy. So many people have to do so many things, so many options. Okay? So Atma Vinigraha is first to recognize that all this running around that I do is for myself. It's not for anybody else's sake. And what I want for myself in this life is fulfillment. And no matter what I do, that fulfillment will continue to elude me. The solution is to know I'm already free. Vedanta does not say that you come to me and I will make you free. Right now you are bound. You are bounded. Okay? It says you are already free and I will show you how. Okay? So the starting point is different. Okay? So that is what we call Atma Vinigraha. So these are some of the values that one needs to cultivate in order to be a student who is eligible for Vedanta. Okay? Now, what the question of Arjuna was, what is Jnanam and what is Gneyam? Okay? What is to be, the Jnanam is means of knowledge, and what Lord Krishna said, means of knowledge are all these qualities. Without these qualities, that knowledge will not take place. So what is that knowledge that you need to know? There in the next chapter 13, verse 12, it says, Jneyam yattat pravakshami yatnatvatmritamashnute anadimat param brahma natat sannadaduchyate. Okay, so here he says, what is Gneyam? To be known, and that is what he says, anadimat param brahma. Okay, what is this param brahma? Param brahma is what? The nature of I. Okay? According to Vedanta, the nature of I is what? Brahman. What is Brahman? That which is big without any limitation. Okay? So that means, what is that big thing without any limitation? Without any limitation, in other words, it means limitless. Okay? Limitless, you have to understand this logic. It's almost like mathematics. Okay? Limitless, can you have 2? No. Perfect. Why?
Self-contradicts.
Excellent. It is contradicting. The minute you have 2, you can't call 1 limitless. Why? Because the very fact that there is a second which is away from it, it will limit the first. Even though one is very big and the other one is tiny, right? That tiny little thing, if it is away from that very big, it will limit that. And this is why what Radhika was saying was absolutely right. Okay? That means if the cause of the universe is away from me, look at this logic. Okay, and I'm separate from the cause of the universe. I limit the cause of the universe.
You are the cause. You are part of it.
Exactly. So that means the cause includes you. You cannot. This is why any theology, whether it is Hindu or whatever theology it is, if it construes, if according to it, the cause of the universe is away from you, logically it just doesn't hold.
It cannot be an outside force.
It cannot be an outside force.
It's limiting that.
Exactly.
And it's not infected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? So that means infinity. If you call something an infinity, it has to be everywhere. It has to pervade. It cannot exclude anything. That is very logic. You have to use, Vedanta uses logic. It doesn't just talk things. Okay, so that means all that is then, if you are limitless, my God, that's a big sentence. That means that you, if what is the real you has to pervade everything, that is the first condition. And the second condition is what? Nothing else can be separate from it. Because that is the only way what Vedanta says is right. Otherwise, what Vedanta says is not right. So you has to pervade everything, and everything else has to be what? Not separate from you. And this is exactly what Vedanta does. It uses a methodology which is a very, very potent methodology. It divides the whole universe into, right, the observer and the object of observation. Okay, so that means an object of observation is what? Time, space, every object within time and space. Now, this body, does it come under the object of observation or the observer or the object of observation? Object of observation, right? So now this body also goes to the category of object of observation. The different conditions of your mind which come and go are, is it observer or the object of observation? Object of observation. So that means the object of observation includes everything, including this body and mind. So what remains as the observer is only one thing, because of which you are able to observe everything. And what is that because of which you are able to observe everything? Awareness. Without awareness, you can't know time, you can't know space, you can't know every object within time and space, including what happens in your body and mind. So now you create one thing. One is the object of awareness, object of observation, and the observer is awareness. Okay. Now the objects are many. How many awarenesses are there? One. Okay, because the objects are many. Okay, but the awareness because of which you observe everything, it is not divided. The objects seem to divide awareness, but they don't really divide awareness. Okay, so therefore you say there is one awareness which is like, today somebody was talking in other class. It is, like when you go for a movie, you watch a movie, okay, and what do you see? You see Shah Rukh Khan, you see Katrina Kaif, you see all these different dramas taking place. Actually, what is there? A white screen. While all these running around is going on, is the white screen ever affected by that? And even all these characters that you see, you think there is Shah Rukh Khan there running on the screen? No. It's just lights, light beams, which give this whole what? It shows you the whole picture and then you see what? You totally miss the white screen. You only see the play of lights, which does what? It gives rise to trees, mountains, characters, and then all the different interactions that take place within those characters. And then what happens? As an observer, what happens? You start crying, you start identifying with characters, and you start laughing when they make you laugh. What actually is there? A white screen. Does it ever get affected by anything that goes on in this movie?
I have one question.
Yes.
So white screen is there.
Yes.
What then is the light playing on it? Is that the white screen also? Because we are seeing it's the same thing.
Yeah. So what? Yeah.
That's
that is.
where I'm confused.
Yeah. So that
To
is.
explain. I
Yeah.
understand
To explain.
it.
Yes.
I don't know how to
Yes.
explain it.
Okay. Right. So now first let's see.
Yeah.
So that awareness. Now I will explain to
Yeah.
you. Right. That's a very good question. So that means this awareness, which is the observer, is completely free from all the objects, the characteristics of object of awareness.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Now, so that means that this now there is a problem. Okay? Because now you still have two entities. You still have two entities. Right? You have observer, which is awareness, which is one, and you have object of awareness, which is all this, everything other than that awareness.
Yeah.
Right? So you still cannot call that awareness limitless.
Yeah. That's where I'm.
Yes? So therefore, what Vedanta says is relook at the universe. Time, space, and object. You think it is all real, but it is mithya. It says Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Okay? So therefore, any object that you see which seems like a very tangible object, okay, it is forms within forms within forms within forms, and ultimately it is only a concept. Okay? So now the question is, concept means, when you go at a quantum level, you don't find any tangible objects. That's what we mean by concepts. It doesn't mean that it's your mind concept, right? It means that there is nothing tangible there. Okay? So therefore, what we then say is that what brings about, there is, these tiniest of the tiny elements, right, and organizes them in a way, but increasingly organizes them in a way that first they become what? Quarks, then what? Particles, then atoms. Then atoms are organized with different permutations and combinations, and then what happens? Sometimes it becomes what? Sometimes mountains, sometimes trees, sometimes rocks, sometimes stars, sometimes moon, right? So therefore, there is this intelligence. The basic intelligence, which is right now organizing billions of cells within my body and making it coordinate with each other. And even if some cells are disappearing and new cells are being generated, where is that intelligence which is organizing it? Is it outside? No, it is in and through here. And it is also organizing the stars, it is organizing everything. Okay, so that means, this is what one of the students asked this question: what is then the source of this intelligence?
That is exactly what.
Right? So now look at this, look at Vedanta. Okay, it is talking about first making you see who you are, which is what? This awareness, which does not have any boundaries, which does not have any limitation. The second question, which Niru was saying, Vedanta talks about, is the nature of the universe. It collapses the whole universe into what? One intelligence, which is creating those atoms and particles and organizing those atoms and particles in a way that all these different objects appear. Okay, so the whole universe is collapsed into that intelligence, which manifests the whole universe and makes everything what it is. Okay, so therefore now you have to ask only one more question, because now universe is collapsed into that intelligence. So now you have still
Where is
two
that,
entities.
That intelligence is inside me, or I'm inside that intelligence.
Excellent.
So,
now 1 minute. That is the last question of Vedanta. Right? So you have this awareness and you have this intelligence.
Yeah.
Intelligence is what we call Ishvara.
Yes.
So that's why we say Ishvara pervades the universe.
Yes.
That intelligence pervades the universe. And nothing is away from that intelligence. The whole organization is within that intelligence. Okay? So you have to ask one more question, that is, what is the relationship between that intelligence and awareness?
Yes.
What is the relationship between awareness and intelligence? Which is more fundamental than the other?
Yeah.
That is Radhika's question. That's a very good question. Which is more fundamental? Which do you think is more fundamental?
I don't know whether I'm the intelligence manifesting this, or everybody, if we're all taking up, we're all intelligence, how are we all manifesting the same thing? And
Okay, so
Yeah,
therefore,
yeah.
because you are still talking about you being this.
apart from this.
Exactly, and also you are still thinking about you as this body and mind with your capability.
No, I'm saying awareness.
Awareness,
I'm saying
right?
awareness
You are
and
saying awareness, which has got nothing to do
Nothing
with
to
this
do with-
body.
I understand.
You
I
understand that?
completely
Yes.
accept.
Okay. Huh?
I'm just trying to find
yes. Okay.
what is
So
manifested by intelligence and awareness.
exactly, right? So this is where what Vedanta says is, go back to Satya Mithya relationship. Okay, Satya Mithya relationship is one thing. Mithya is that which has a dependent reality, and Satyam is that which has an independent reality. So it says, go back to your own mind, your little intelligence, your mind intelligence. Okay, in order for your mind intelligence to exist, you need to have awareness. Okay, now you increase the magnitude of that intelligence and make it all intelligence, which creates not only your brain, but your brain, reptile's brain, bird's brain, everything. Okay, that intelligence, can it exist without awareness? No. Okay, so that means that between that all intelligence, which is what we call Ishvara, and awareness, there is again Satya Mithya relationship. Right? So that means that just as my little intelligence cannot exist without awareness, so too the all intelligence cannot exist without awareness. So therefore, now you look at the whole thing, you come to only one. Satya Mithya relation, that's why that one, Atma, is limitless. Because everything else depends, exactly. Everything else collapses into that. Perfect. Okay, so we don't deny the existence, but upon inquiry, the whole thing collapses into one thing.
That means your all intelligence is dependent on awareness.
Exactly. So, just to understand in a simple word, okay, so therefore this is one very important thing that I want to talk about today, because it's the biggest place where Vedanta is not understood accurately. Okay, I'll tell you.
It's very difficult also.
Vedanta is an equation. The equation is Tat Tvam Asi. Tat refers to the cause of the universe. Tvam refers to you, right? So therefore, Tat Tvam, you are equated to the cause of the universe. Okay? Now, the thing is, when I tell you 5 is equal to 5, is it an equation? No. Why? Correct. Your answer is right. Why?
It's already the answer.
Excellent. Right?
She got it,
Very good.
she got it right, yeah.
She got it right. But when I say 3 plus 2 is equal to 6 minus 1, is it an equation? Yes.
You've
Right?
broken that down.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see where you're going. Okay.
Right? So that means the two sides look very different. There is no denial, right? Two sides are very different. Now, understand, it's very, very important. This is the crux of Vedanta, because if you mix it up, you do a big mix up.
Yeah.
Okay? So now, imagine this equation. Where is the resolution point of this equation?
That
Where is the resolution point? Can you say 3 is equal to 6? That is the resolution point? Not at all. Can you say plus is equal to minus? No. 2 is equal to 1? No. If you try to resolve the equation at that level, you make a huge cognitive error. Huge. If you start thinking you are Ishvara, where Ishvara is the cause of the universe, from where the time comes, the space comes, from all the laws come, and you start thinking you are that, hey, you are on a trip.
Because it is confusing. People do think that.
People do think that. Because
Yeah.
Vedanta is not handled properly by the teacher, or the mind is projecting. Okay, so therefore, what is the resolution point? 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. You have to come to 5. 6 minus 1, you have to come to 5. The resolution point is not at that level, it is at another level. Right? It is at 5. So this is why when you do Tat Tvam Asi, listen carefully. Okay? There is one thing which is what you say you. You has two meanings. One is what we call Vachyartha, and the other one is Lakshyartha. Vachyartha means the literal meaning. When I said when the inquiry of Vedanta is about you, what is your idea of you? This little individual. Okay, that is what we call Vachyartha. Vachyartha means the literal meaning of what you understand is you. From your Vachyartha, Upanishad take you to what? The Lakshyartha, the intended meaning. It says when I talk to you as you, I'm not equating this Radhika or Niru or Nima to the cause of the universe, which has created the time and space and all the different laws of gravity and nuclear laws and quantum physics laws. I'm not that. Right? When I talk about you, I talk about what? That awareness. Okay? That awareness is what we call Lakshyartha. Lakshyartha means the intended meaning. I have to take you from your meaning to what I want to convey to you through this word you. Right? So therefore, there is Vachyartha and then there is Lakshyartha. Now, when I talk about the cause of the universe, again there is Vachyartha. What is a Vachyartha? Vachyartha is the meaning of the cause of the universe, which, as I explained to you, it means what? The intelligence which makes the whole universe manifest. That all intelligence is in form of what? All the different, from where the time, space comes, from where all the laws come, which connects us all together. It gives constantly different forms and organizes them so that interactions take place. That is very different from what? The Vachyartha, which is you, which is me, the little individual. Right? So at that level, there is no equation. Vachyarthe, there is no equation. Just like 3 and 6 cannot be equated. Okay? But when you look into the truth of that intelligence, what is the Lakshyartha? You come back to that awareness. So even when you understand that at that level there is a difference. You are little individual, me, Nima, with this form, with this mind, and the cause of the universe is what? Huge. When I understand that I am awareness and Ishvara is equally awareness, do I become the cause of the universe? No, never. Right? I only understand that there is one truth, which is awareness. Okay, from the standpoint of its capacity to manifest the whole universe, you call it Ishvara. One given entity within this creation is called Jiva. But both are projection of one reality which is free from both.
Not good. Now, please explain it again.
So, I will say it with an example. Example of wave, ocean and water. Very easy to understand. Okay, wave is Jiva, you and me. Okay, this wave is feeling small and insignificant. Looks at other waves and feels, oh my God, they are big. Looks at, I'm Atlantic Ocean wave, Pacific wave ocean is so, this wave is so beautiful. Okay? Now a wise wave comes and says, what's the problem? Okay? He says, I'm so small and I'm so insignificant, and any time I can just reach the shore, I will go away, and I see all my friends going away, so I'm just distressed. Okay? He says, hey, there is no problem. Why? He says, okay, now you think you're an isolated person. Okay? Now you look and you see that every wave and all of you are part of the ocean. One entity. Ocean includes all the waves. It is not, if then there are no more many. If the wave is focusing on one's waveness, how many entities are there? Millions. Waves of the past, waves of the present, waves of the future, known, unknown. There are too many entities. But if the wave is made to understand that actually there is only one entity, which is the ocean, within which all the different waves are contained, then even when the wave looks at many different waves, understands that there is only one ocean. Okay? So there, the wave understands I am part of the ocean, and ocean includes every wave. Okay? Then the ocean thinks I am part of that reality which pervades everything. Then the wise person says, but this is not the ultimate reality. There is one more reality. He says, wow, what is that other reality? It says, now you re-look at the relationship. You look at the form wave. What is it? Water. Okay? The entire existence of wave is nothing but water. Okay? Now you look at the ocean. The entire ocean, which includes not only you the wave, but all other waves of the past, present and future. Even if you become extinct, what? There will be another wave. Okay? That entire ocean, what is the content of that ocean? Water. Water, when it appears as the totality, you give it a name called ocean. When that water appears as one entity within the ocean, you give it a name called wave. Okay? But in reality, how many things are there? Only one. Water, which on one hand appears as the ocean and on the other hand appears as the wave. While it appears as wave and while it appears as the ocean, it is always free from oceanness, or waveless. Itself is what? Only H2O. H2O means what? Just water. Okay? It is free from the attributes of what? The oceanness and waveless. But when a wave comes to know that, does the wave become the ocean? No. The resolution point of that equation is not that the wave becomes the ocean. What is the resolution point? The water. So if you try to resolve this equation at a different point, you make a huge cognitive error. If the wave starts thinking that when I understand that everything is water, I become bigger than the ocean, is it true? No. The wave is still what? Within the ocean, which is a much bigger entity. Okay?
There's one reason I got one.
No, when you are saying that the wave realizes
Yes.
that the wave is not the ocean.
Wave is the resolution of this equation is not that the wave becomes ocean. Exactly.
The resolution
Is
that the wave is water.
yes.
But you are saying that the wave does not become,
Physically the ocean.
it doesn't become
Physically the ocean. Even when the enlightened wave who understands that all that is here is water does not physically become the ocean. That difference remains, just like 3 plus 2 difference, apparent difference remains.
That I'm very clear on this.
Yeah?
I have one very stupid, it's a very
Yes.
silly question.
Yes.
Which is,
Yes.
then we say now.
Yes.
What is, I understand awareness.
Huh.
All say 5 of us sitting here, all have the same awareness.
Yes.
For each one.
And it
All
is-
human beings, it's the same thing. I understand the ocean, everything, totally.
Hmm.
What I'm not understanding, how are we manifesting the same mithya
Hmm.
with other things? Okay, the ocean is there, but you have rocks, you have coral,
Yes.
you have life under the ocean, like
Yes.
fish.
Yes.
So maybe like that you have other planets, you have stars. Why is it that all our awareness is seeing that? I'm just asking, why do we see the same thing, or have we all created that? That is where I'm very confused.
See, we
I
haven't.
understood with the mind
Hmm.
and with the awareness that we all have. But what about things which don't have the awareness? Why are we all seeing the same thing?
Okay. So what your question is that
It's very fun.
yeah, no, I know. Okay, yeah. So see, the thing is, what you're then okay. Now, what Radhika is asking is that I think, I think you're assuming that awareness is only in living beings,
Yeah.
right? So this is not what we say.
So even this
That
will
may,
have
aware exactly. So that is a very good. So let us look at the example of a dream. Okay, what creates a dream world? Your mind. Okay, you create dream time, dream space. Okay, dream mountains, dream river, and dream characters. Okay, now the dream characters are animate. They are able to, and the mountains and rivers are what? Inanimate. Okay, so that means that you think that the life or that intelligence exists only in animate characters in the dream. Is it true? Your intelligence pervades everything in the dream. Okay, so that means it's not that your awareness is only in living characters of your dream. Your awareness pervades in the mountains, in the rivers, in time space of the dream, which seem like inanimate to you, but in fact it is all pervading. So therefore, this is why we bring intelligence. Okay, the mountains that you see, they seem inanimate, which is true. They can't talk, they can't emote, they can't do any of that, but they have limit. There is an intelligence which is making those mountains what they are.
Exactly.
Okay, and the truth of that intelligence is awareness. So awareness is everywhere. So what is the difference now? Your question is, what is the difference between, if awareness is everywhere, why there are some things which are animate and some things which are inanimate? Okay, the difference is that there is what we call sukshma sharira in one living beings, and there is absence of sukshma sharira in non-living beings. But intelligence, that Ishvara is everywhere, and the truth of Ishvara as awareness is everywhere. But the mountains cannot talk because they don't have sukshma sharira. This is why when the physical body, the sukshma sharira leaves, it becomes inanimate.
Yeah.
Right? So awareness, the whole play is happening within awareness. Okay? When there is a presence of sukshma sharira, it looks like a living being. And when there is absence of sukshma sharira, it seems like an inert being. But both have awareness. Just like in your dream, the animate, the living and the inert both have your awareness equally.
So we all manifest the same mountain. It's not that I am manifesting another mountain, she's seeing another mountain.
No.
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing because there is Ishvara there. Okay? So that's why it's not your and my creation.
Yeah.
It is something which is, right, which is what we saw, that this is what we call Maya. The capacity of that awareness to what? Manifest the whole creation.
Yeah.
That is not your and my creation.
Yeah.
That's a different, this is what I said. Ishvara Upadhi is a different Upadhi.
So that has created everything.
Exactly. Exactly. That has created everything.
That has created.
That has created everything.
And that will then collapse into awareness. Into
Exactly.
that will-
Exactly.
Okay. And my awareness is with everybody's awareness. So that's why it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Very difficult to get hold of it. I mean, I understand it now, but
Vandana, are you clear?
I'm partly clear, but I mean, I don't. If you ask me to explain it.
No, if you, that obviously you cannot. You cannot explain. But what I want you to understand is this equation is.
We did the wave ocean thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got confused with the dream.
Okay.
So if I think about the wave, the resolution of created in the water, that is very clear to me. That means
Yeah.
that my resolution of what I consider myself is in the awareness, not in the intelligence.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that bit I understood.
Okay. Now let us use the dream example and do the same. Okay. Imagine now you are in the dream world. Imagine. Right? You are in the dream world and you identify with only one character in the dream. That's what we do. Okay. Now somebody says while you're dreaming, and you, as a result of identifying with only one character, you are undergoing experiences. You go experiences of what? Happiness, sadness. There was the article in Times of India last Sunday, and it was talking about if your child has had nightmare, how do you deal with this child? What do you tell the child next morning? Okay, so that means while in the dream, the child can have a very terrifying experience. Okay, so now somebody, while the child is still dreaming, tells that, hey, you, the character, okay, look at really the source of what is the truth of you. That intelligence which is creating you, right? And then what is the truth of the whole creation? Okay, it's the same, but it appears to be different. So both the whole creation, with reference to the whole creation and one entity in the creation, okay, when you look into the truth of it, it comes back to one same thing. Okay? And that one thing, while giving that whole appearance, is free from both. The whole dream world and you, the character within that dream world. So that is what we call Anadimat Param Brahma. Nat Tat Sat Na Asat Uchyate. Okay? Neither you can take it as totally unreal. Mithya word, you please take out this whole thing that it is an illusion or it is something which is unreal. Mithya is a very technical word. Mithya only means that in terms, just understand, okay? Here you can say it is table and I will say it is wood. How many objects are there? How many things are there? 2, 1. So you have 2 names. You have one, but you have 2 names. Why?
Perceptions are different.
It's not the perceptions are different.
But it's, yeah, you see it as...
Because there is a form, right? And that form has a specific name for that form.
One is addressing the form, one is addressing the content.
Excellent, right? So that means there is a Chandogya Upanishad which says Vacha Rambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Mrittika Ityeva Satyam. It says, now you look, if I show you a pot which is made from Mrittika, which is clay. Okay? If your whole, what is our orientation? We give more reality to the form than to the content. Okay? So if I show you 10 different pots, how many things will you count? 10. But if I make you see the content, which is clay, and if I say that clay is the content, how many, now recount, how many things are there? 1. Does it mean you need to break the pots? No. Do you need to do anything to the pots? Do you need to destroy the pots to understand that there is one? Do you need to collapse the pots in order to understand it is one? You don't need to do anything. You only need to what? It's a shift. It's a cognitive shift. You pay more attention to the content than the form. And the form has, there are no 2 things. When you count the content, you have already counted the form. And the form, whether it's big or small or whatever its dimensions are, what the clay, is it ever affected by those dimensions? It's always free. This is what we call transcendence. Pervading it, it is free from it. Transcendence doesn't mean you have to go somewhere and enter in some other realm of consciousness. We are not talking about anything like that. Have other, deep into meditation, and you have go and have layers and layers of. We are not talking about any of that. We are saying there is one content, being everything, it is free from everything. Okay? So therefore, it just shifts, it's a shift of vision.
So the clay is the awareness.
Clay is the awareness. That is the basic content. Exactly.
Just like the water. Like water.
Just like water is the content. And while appearing as ocean and wave, it is free from both. Therefore, an enlightened wave is retaining that form and understanding that in terms of this form, I am different from the ocean, not resolving the equation at a wrong place. Okay? This is why Vedanta, if it is not understood accurately, all these new age things that you read, right? The universe will work according to what you want, what you want it to.
I read a wonderful
It will not.
article on this guy who has completely crashed this focusing trip.
Absolutely.
The secret.
It's completely trashed.
Actually, it looks, I mean, it sounded quite.
But yeah, exactly. Because see, the universe doesn't. Yeah, universe doesn't work according to your fancies. It doesn't. You ask the gravities to stop. Yeah, I am very positive and I want to think, and the laws of gravity should stop. Hey, does it consult you? No.
So that oneness that we speak of, at which level of the
Which
equation?
level?
Right?
Exactly.
There is no oneness in the Ishvara, the universe, and me right now. But at which level of the equation am I
Exactly.
one? Right?
Absolutely. What Nero is saying is absolutely right. This is absolutely.
What you say?
Right? So when we talk of oneness, everyone says oneness, we are same, we are one. It is at which level of the equation? Not at this level, not at this level, not at this universe, creation and me level. No. It is at that Satyam level.
Exactly.
Which part of the equation is that oneness? That is why you have these two schools of Dvait and Advait.
Yeah.
Because at which level is Advait and which level is Dvait?
What is Advait?
Advait is oneness that we
No,
all
no.
resolve
So the
into
two
that
schools-
awareness. The
Yeah.
intelligence,
Yeah.
Ishvara, and my awareness, they are dependent realities. We all get into that one awareness, which is, though it is creates and pervades everything, is itself free.
Yeah.
Right?
See, this Advaita philosophy, Advaita means non-duality. Non-duality, non-duality. Okay? Non-duality, it only means that it doesn't mean that there is only one form. It means in spite of all these differences in the form, as Niru is saying, right? You're not saying you and me are the same. I'm not saying that. Your body is different from my body. And your mind is different from my mind, right? So therefore we are not saying that these empirical differences don't exist. What we say is, beyond this empirical reality, there is what we call Paramarthika, the absolute reality. Okay, so at that level is the equation. Advaita says. What Dvaita is a philosophy. Okay, and there are many different schools within Dvaita philosophy. Okay, and one of the schools is what we call Sankhya and Yoga. These are all Dvaita.
And that's also based on
And
Vedanta.
that is, they also look into the Vedas and they conclude the reality to be something different. So last time when I did Purusha and Prakriti, I explained to them what is Sankhya, what is Yoga, and why is it called Dvaita philosophy. We did, yeah.
That is very interesting.
So that means they
So the
also,
oneness is
yeah.
at a
Exactly.
level of
So that doesn't mean. No, I will explain to you.
Forget the Dvaita.
Yeah.
Forget that. Just think of awareness.
That I got. The
That
Advaita
is.
one,
So-
At the equation that she was explaining.
So-
But at which level are we one?
yeah.
Not at the Jiva and Ishvara level, but at the Satyam awareness.
And
Because
not
we-
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Because we both depend on Satyam awareness
Yeah.
for our existence.
Yeah.
So in fact, you are awareness, and everything else is mithya.
Yes.
Yeah, and this body is mithya, the mind is mithya, this body is mithya, that body is, everything resolves in that awareness, and that awareness is only available to you as self-evident I,
Yeah.
observer, because of which you observe everything. So what is the nature of mistake we make? Because of a given relationship of awareness with one given body and mind, we take the attributes of body and mind as attributes of mind, and we suffer from limitation of body and mind.
Absolutely clear on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But Dvaita, when we use the word Dvaita, we mean in the philosophical terms, we use a philosophy, which the two main philosophies are Sankhya and Yoga.
Yeah.
I will explain to you. We did it another time, right? You don't mind repeating?
No, you
Okay.
have to hear it so
You
many
get
times.
times.
Like I'm telling
I
you,
would love to
today
hear
I got,
Yeah.
this with clarity.
See?
Then tomorrow I'll forget it, then I'll hear it again 10 days later, and again it will be new.
Yeah.
And it just kind of comes and goes, and you have these moments of clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's very difficult to do. I've got up to a certain level.
You've
and
got up to a
I've got
certain
to
level.
very
Yeah,
clear.
very
So the
clear.
last
Yeah.
bit I'll-
Yeah, which
comes
takes
slowly.
time. It
Yeah.
takes time, but but you are really.
Yeah. I'm not
I'm good. Okay, I will just stop with the prayer.
It's very little.
Okay.
It's just
Om. I just finished the prayer. Just one second. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.